Hello and welcome to my channel. In this tutorial we will work the fern top. This design is an old one. I made it first in 2018. It was called the summer crocheted top or summer top, and I'm happy that I finally managed to make another sample, well actually two of them, and to update the pattern and the video tutorial. For this video tutorial we will work a size small. I used leftover yarn for this one, and you will see that my yarn wasn't, all the color wasn't available enough for the entire top, but in the end I like the way that it looks. For the first pattern, so the yarn size required is a fingering weight yarn, but in this bunch of colors I have also sport weight yarn, so it might be worked in fingering to sport weight yarn. We are working with 4mm crochet hook, so it might be use DK, but then the drape will be different. So this is the first sample that I made, first sample from this year. So we will work two parts, the back, front, at the back and the front panel. And the difference between the back and the front is that we have this bottom line on the front panel, so at some point we will have to split the front panel into left and right and work them separately. The bottom line is worked at the end along with the neckline. Now we are working in an open show stitch pattern, which requires a multiple of 8 plus 1 stitches. I will make a foundation row in single crochet. You can do it in foundation single crochet as well if you don't want to start with the chain stitches. So for the size small we will start with 90 stitches, or if you're doing the foundation single crochet stitches then you should work 89, so to have a multiple of 8 plus 1 stitch. So now the first row is in single crochet. This row won't count when counting the number of rows. We will talk only from the second one. So every time I'm saying repeat rows, or we will work 19 rows or 36 rows, you should know that we will not count this foundation row. So let's finish the single crochet row, or the foundation single crochet if you like to. And now basically we will start the pattern. So the first row is with chain 4, and then we will work 1 double crochet into the first stitch, chain 2, skip the next 3 stitches and work 1 single crochet in next, chain 2, skip 3 stitches, and we will work a shell stitch with 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet, chain 2, skip the next 3 stitches and work 1 single crochet. And we will repeat this section until the end of the row. We will finish the repeated section first with 1 single crochet, and we should have 4 stitches left after that. Okay, so I worked the last single crochet. I have 4 stitches left. Now I will chain 2 and work into the last stitch 1 double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet. Because I'm working with more colors, I will finish the last double crochet with the second color I want to use. I changed the color at every row. For the first, this was the plan initially, then when I had only 2 colors, I just let it and change the color at every 2 rows. So now chain 1 and turn, work one single crochet into the first stitch, chain 2, go into the next single crochet and work the shell stitch, chain 2, go into the second double crochet of the next shell and work one single crochet, and we will repeat until the end of the row. We will finish the row with chain 2 and one single crochet into the third chain, meaning that we will skip one double crochet and one chain and go into the next one and work one single crochet. I will finish the single crochet with the next color that I want to use. And we will chain 4 and turn, one double crochet into the first stitch, chain 2, one single crochet into the second double crochet of the shell stitch, chain 2, one shell into the next single crochet, and we will repeat until the end of the row, working one single crochet into the second double crochet of the chain and the shell stitch into the single crochet. We will finish the row with one double crochet, chain 1 and one double crochet into the last stitch. And now we have the 2 rows repeat. We already worked them, so from now on we should repeat rows 2 and 3 without counting the foundation row until we will get to the armpit. I worked in total 36 rows, but if you want to adjust the length of the top, you should work more or less rows. But to be easier to follow the pattern, I will suggest, and the tutorial further, I will suggest, if you choose to change the number of rows, to choose an even number. In this way the pattern won't change too much. So now let's just repeat and finish the 36 rows that I have made for the length up to the armpit, and then we will start to decrease for the armhole. Because I'm working with colors, every time I'm picking up colors, because I'm carrying them on the side, I will pick up the yarn that is farthest and carrying them along the side. Okay, I finished 36 rows. My last row was in this taupe color, so now I need to skip one pattern repeat. So I finished with one single crochet, and I need to start the next row from the second single crochet. So I'm going using the same color of yarn and work the slip stitches. If you work with color, you can simply cut the yarn and rejoin the yarn into the second single crochet, but I want to show you what you should do if you want to work in one single color, because maybe you don't want to cut the yarn in this case. So work slip stitches until the second single crochet. You should work the slip stitches into each stitch, including the chain stitches. And now the last one, I will do it with the next color. but I will cut the yarn because it's too far to carry it on. Okay, so now I will make the last slip stitch with the next color I want to use, or I have to use. And the first row, which will be the row 37, will be decrease row. So we will start with chain 3, and then go right into the second double crochet of the next shell and work 1 single crochet, chain 2, and into the next single crochet we will work the shell stitch. And from now we just need to repeat the pattern until the second to last shell. Because we need to finish the row into the second to last single crochet. Okay, so I work my last single crochet into the second to last shell, and now I will finish the row with 1 double crochet into the next single crochet, and I will leave the rest of the stitches like this. Now, because the yarn is too far to pick it up, I might need to cut this and then use them and rejoin them when I need to use them. Now the next 2 rows, because this was the first row from the armhole, so row 37, and the next 2 rows will be rows without decreasing. So for this one we will just follow the pattern, but the thing is that we won't consider the last double crochet in the first chain 3, so we will consider that this row started and ended with a single crochet. So that's why I chained 4, and now I will go with 1 double crochet into the single crochet, and then I will continue with the stitch pattern until the last single crochet, and I will finish the row with 1 double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet. Okay, so now I will chain 2 and go into the last single crochet and work 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet. The next row, again we won't make any decreases, so simply following the same pattern. So I will chain 1, and then I will start with 1 single crochet into the first stitch, chain 2, 1 shell into the next single crochet, chain 2, and we will continue until the end of the row. And we will finish the row with one single crochet into the third chain, or skip one double crochet and one chain and into the next one. Now for the rest of the rows of the armhole decrease, we will need to repeat these 3 rows. So now the next one will be a decrease, so I need to start with chain 3 and then go into the second double crochet of the next shell and work one single crochet. And we will repeat these 3 rows until we will have 5 repeats, or if you want that the armhole not to be too big, so the armhole depth to be smaller, then you can work 4 repeats. So either 15 rows or either 12. This is for size small. For size for other sizes you can find the written pattern on my website and in my shops, and you should check there because there is a different a bit of a different the same 3 rows pattern repeat, but for some sizes you won't need to decrease that much, so you might get to work the last few rows just straight. Okay, now I finished the rows that I wanted to work for the armhole depth, and now I will work 2 more rows to finish the back panel, and the first row will be just to make the stitches straight. So now I will chain 6 and then I will work a single crochet into the second double crochet, then chain 3, a double crochet into the next single crochet, and we will repeat until the end of the row. And we will finish the row with chain 3 and 1 double crochet into the last stitch. And now for the last row we will work 1 single crochet into each stitch across. Okay, so now we finished the back panel, and for the front panel we will start now working on the front panel, and for the front panel we will follow the same pattern, so we will start with the same number of stitches and we will work the pattern in the same way until we will get to the length where we want to start the bottom line. So I worked in total 19 rows. If you want to make the bottom line shorter, then you should go with more rows up to the bottom line, but again, as I recommended for the armpit length, I will recommend to keep an uneven number of rows, so to go up to 21, 23 or so on. just because it will be easier to follow the pattern or the tutorial next and not to get confused by the changing the rows. So now I will just work the first rows from the front panel, and then we will see how to split and how we will work next. So now I have here the first 19 rows, and now we will need to split. I have 11 pattern repeats, so I will count from the middle of the shell stitch, and I will count 5 pattern repeats to the left and 5 to the right, and I should have left 1 pattern repeat in the middle. So you can use stitch markers just to mark the stitches where you should stop or where you should start the row. And if you are working with more colors, you should cut every yarn from the side that you are not working on yet, so to make them available for the side that we are working right now. And now we will start the row as usual, and we will follow the same stitch pattern but working only in up to the marked stitch, so only into the marked stitches, and we should work straight, so not making any decrease yet until we will reach the armpit length. So if I worked for the back panel 36 rows, then I should work now the number of rows needed to get to 36. So I had 19 rows, so now I need to work 17 more rows to complete the armpit length, and then we will start to decrease for the armhole. We need to follow the same shape as for the back panel, but we will meet right away to see how we will work this. So for now we will just continue repeating the same pattern, this open shell stitch, until we will get to the armpit length. So now we will simply continue with the stitch pattern until we will have 36 rows on this side. Okay, so I finished 36 rows. I finished the length up to the armpit, and now we should start decreasing on the side with the armhole. My last row ended into the middle, so for this first row I will decrease only at the end of the row. So now I'm starting the row as usual, and I will work up to the second to last shell stitch. Okay, so now I will finish the row with one single crochet into the second double crochet, and then one double crochet into the second to last single crochet. And in this way I made the first decrease row, and now I will start the row with chain 4, one double crochet into the single crochet, and then continue the row as usual. So again, for the next 2 rows after the decrease row, we are not decreasing. So we will repeat the same decrease pattern with one row decrease and the 2 rows without decreasing. Working with many colors or other colors, you should cut the yarn from the edge because it's too far to just carry on. So now this will be chain 4 and then going with one double crochet into the first stitch. And we will continue with the stitch pattern, and then you'll see that with the next decrease row, so after we will finish this 2, the decrease will be on the opposite side. So we will decrease at the beginning of the row. Okay, so I just started the second row without decreasing, so I start the row as usual, and now we will finish the row, and on the next row we will see how to make the decrease. It's similar with the back panel, only that because we're working only half of the panel, then we need to keep one side straight. We will finish the row with one single crochet into the third chain, so skip one double crochet and one chain stitch. And now we will start with a decrease, so chain 3 and single crochet into the second double crochet of the next row, and this was the decrease at the beginning of the row. We will finish the row following the same stitch pattern, and then we will work 2 more rows without decreasing. Okay, I finished the 2 rows that I worked after the decrease row, so I have 6 rows now, and we should repeat these 6 rows until we will have the same number of rows as for the armhole on the back panel. So as I said, 15 or 12 rows, or 4 or 5 repeats. And now we will find and we will work the same 2 rows at the end. So we will make the one that it goes straight and another one into the single crochet stitches. So we will start with chain 6. And then we will work one single crochet into the second double crochet of the shell, then chain 3 and one double crochet into the single crochet, and we will repeat until the end, and we will finish with chain 3 and one double crochet into the last stitch, and then one more row into single crochet stitches. When working the single crochet stitches, try to go right into the chain stitches especially, and not into under the chain, because in this way the work will look neater. And after finishing this row, we will just need to start working on the opposite half. So this side is finished right now, and we can cut the yarn. Now if you're working with colors, remember that you need to cut the colors from this side, the yarn from this side, because we need to make them available for the other half of the front panel. And basically the other half will be worked in the mirror, but now with the first 17 rows until we will get to the armpit, it will be the same, only that we will rejoin yarn into the marked stitch and start repeating the same pattern until we will get to the length to the armpit. Okay, so I finished the length up to the armpit. Now my last row ended on the edge where I need to start the and making the armhole decrease. The same way as we did when we start to decrease for the back panel, we should start our row from the second single crochet. So you should go there with slip stitches, or in case you work with many color and it's time to change the color for this row, then you simply cut the yarn and just simply go into the second single crochet and start the row from there. I will just go with slip stitches up to the second single crochet, and this second half of the front panel is basically worked in the mirror with the other one. So remember that for the other half we started with a decrease row, but the decrease was at the end of the row, so this time will be at the beginning of the row. And we started with chain 3 and single crochet into the second double crochet of the next shell. Now we will repeat the pattern for the rest of the row, and we will work the next 2 rows without decreasing. So now when finishing the row, this one started with a single crochet, but remember that the decrease row started with single crochet as well. We will chain 3 for the decrease, which we are not counting. So this time we will finish the row into the single crochet, first single crochet, with 1 double crochet, chain 1 and another double crochet. And then we will turn our work and work 1 more row without decrease. And when we will start the next decrease row, you'll see that the decrease will be at the end of the row, same as the first row as on the opposite side, on the other half. Okay, so now this is the decrease row, so we are starting at the middle of the front panel, and we should end the row with a single crochet into the last shell, and then 1 double crochet into the last stitch. And now chain 4 and turn, and we will start with a double crochet into the first single crochet and start repeating these 6 rows, because now we're working 2 more rows until we without decreasing, until we will have the same number of the repeats as on the back panel and on the other half of the front panel. So I finished a number of rows, and now I need to have those last 2 rows. So chain 6 and go into the next shell, the double crochet, second double crochet, and work 1 single crochet, chain 3 and into the next single crochet, work a double crochet. And we will finish the row with chain 3 and a double crochet into the last stitch. And then we will chain 1 and turn and work 1 more row into with single crochet stitches. And basically with this row the front panel will be done, and we will start working on the assembling and finishing. Okay, now the next step for our top is to work the armhole edges, and because my I am on the right side and I want to work the and I can work the edge starting from where my yarn is. So we will start with this side working the edge. We will work in single crochet stitches and across the armhole. And one important thing is that into the chain 3 and double crochet stitches that we have on the decrease rows, to work 3 single crochet. One single crochet if it's a single crochet row, and for the other chain 3 and double crochet which is not on the decrease row, we can work 2 single crochet. But this thing you should adjust it, so the number of stitches that you are working across, you should adjust them considering your tension, because you might have the double crochet stitches or the chain 3 at the beginning of the row. Sometimes might be worked looser, sometimes might be worked tighter, so it should be as it is, work the single crochet as you find space to let the single crochet lay perfectly even, or as even as possible, to have a nice straight edge. If at the beginning of this first row you don't like the how the edge is showing, and you wish that you have more single crochet work or less single crochet work, you can adjust the number of the stitches on the next row, where you can increase or decrease if this is the case. This just like not to undo the first row and start working all over again, just to tell you that everything can be fixed. So we will continue working this row up to the end, and then we will work one more row in single crochet stitches, and for the third row of the edge, because we will work 3 rows in total, we will work a twisted single crochet. But we will get there, and I will show you how to make the twisted single crochet in case that you didn't work the stitch before. This is not mandatory, just because I like how the edge is looking with this twisted single crochet, but if you prefer, you can work the third row in single crochet as well. Okay, so I finished the 2 rows. Now I will start the twisted single crochet row. First stitch and the last one, I will work a regular single crochet, and then I will insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull out a loop, and before finishing the single crochet, twist your crochet hook 360 degrees, and then finish the single crochet, yarn over and finish the stitch. You should keep the loops looser, so when after twisting your hook, to have enough space to finish the stitch. And we will continue up to the end of the row, and this edge we should repeat the same on all the armholes, including on the second half of the front panel and the back panels as well. So now keep in mind that always we need to work the first row on the right side of our work. You will see that the stitch pattern is looking the same on both sides, but after finishing both sides, it's better to decide which one you want to be the right side and which one to be the wrong side of your top, so you can work the edges and bottom line and neckline according to right or wrong side. Because for example, the first row will look nicer if it's worked on the edge will look nicer if it's the first row it's worked on the right side. So now we will continue working the armhole edges on all the sides, back panel and front panels, and then we will need to work the bottom lines. A thing with the bottom line is that we will work it together with the neckline, and with the neckline we will join back and front panel. So I didn't stitch the sides of the top before doing that, but it might be easier for you to just have the both panels in place and not to twist them or find it difficult to work this bottom line. So now working on the right side again, we will just rejoin yarn at the bottom of the right front panel. I think it's the right front panel if we're will be the right side, and we will start to work in single crochet stitches. This time when working, because the double crochet, the chain 3 at the beginning are straight, so we will work 2 single crochet into a double crochet or chain 3 side row. If it's a single crochet row, then we will work 1 single crochet. But again, adjust the number of single crochet that we are working according with your tension. And we will work single crochet stitches up to the top, so the last stitch from the top of the panel. And into the top stitch we will work 3 single crochet just to turn and have a straight corner. And with all the other rows we should remember or even use stitch markers to mark the second stitch from the increase, because we should increase in that stitch at every row. Or if you want that your corner to be rounded, not straight, then you can skip a few rows without increasing. Now we will work along the top right front panel with single crochet stitches, and at the last stitch we will chain the neckline stitches which are joining the front with the back panel. And here I chained 15 stitches, same as for the other sample that I did. And if you want if you feel that you want more stitches, so your neckline to be wider, then you should chain more stitches. But remember that this neckline doesn't need to be that wide, because anyway we will have buttons and we can simply not close them all when dressing the top. So after chaining 10 to 15 stitches, then we should go into the first stitch of the top back panel, and make sure that again that you choose the wrong side. And now the front panel should face the right side when working, because the first row I want to be on the right side for the front panel and as well for the back panel. And now we will continue working single crochet stitches across the back panel. So single crochet into each stitch until the last one. And now that we are at the last stitch, we should chain the same number of stitches as in the other side, which is the neckline, the joining stitches with the front panel. So again, chain 10 to 15 stitches. And then take your front panel, make sure that is not twisted and is in the proper position, not to make the stitches and to have this first row twisted. This is why I said that maybe it would be easier to just stitch the sides before doing the neckline and bottom line. And now into the first stitch of the top stitches we will make a single crochet, and we will continue with one single crochet into the top stitches, and again into the last one we should work 3 single crochet to turn and make the corner. Okay, and now we turn and working on the other side of the bottom line. Again, when working into the 3 chain or double crochet stitch into the side of it, you should work 2 single crochet into the single crochet side row, 1 single crochet, or adjust the number of stitches according with your tension. And we will continue to work like this until we will get to the end of the row, which is the bottom of the bottom line. And now we should chain 1 and turn, and then continue working 2 more rows. We will work 7 rows in total for this section of the top, but at row 4 we should meet again because we will let the buttonholes, and to show you how you can do this. So for now just continue with 2 more rows in single crochet stitches for the entire section, as the same as we worked this first row. Again, into the second stitch of the increase you should work 3 single crochet to turn the corner. If you want, you can use stitch marker to make sure that you won't forget that. Okay, I finished the first 3 rows and now I used quite a few stitch markers to mark the buttonholes. You should count the number of stitches that you have on this side and divide the number of stitches to the number of buttons that you will want to use. This will give you for one button the number of stitches needed or that you have available, and in this way it will help you to evenly place the buttons along this side. So now to make this, I put here 10 stitch markers. In the end, I think you saw and noticed on this second sample that I decided not to use that many buttons because I wanted to show that it will look nice even if you don't have 10 small buttons to put on it. So now when you're making the buttonhole, you simply chain one and skip one. This in case you have small buttons. If you have bigger buttons, maybe it will be an idea to chain two and skip 2 stitches. And then after finishing this row with the buttonhole, the next 2 rows, so row 5 and 6, will be with single crochet in each stitch, similar as row 2 or 3. But remember that you will need to work a single crochet into the chain stitch, so into the buttonhole as well. And for the 7th row, I chose to work the twisted single crochet, same as we did on the armhole edging. So we will meet again after finishing this section to show you how to do that. It's better what I'm doing here is like taking and letting the stitch markers in place. At first I wanted to take them out, but then I realized that it will be useful to have them there when we will need to sew the buttons, because in this way we will know the place in which on the other side we should put the button. So now let's just continue with this row, finishing with the buttonholes and continuing the row, and then we will have 2 more rows to work in single crochet, and after that we will meet again to work the last row and to see how to join at the bottom of the button line, because we need to join it with the top. So now for the last row, which will be worked in twisted single crochet, I decided to change the color because I still had a few left. So if it's supposed to be a leftover yarn top, then let's use as much as possible of it. So I will change the color into the last single crochet, finishing the last single crochet with the color I want to use, and then in the same way as we proceed on the armhole edge, we will work the first and the last stitch as a regular single crochet, then working the twisted single crochet. And at the front panels corners where we made those increasing to pass the corner and have a straight corner, on this row I simply didn't make that increase and just work one twisted single crochet in each single crochet. Okay, so now I finished with this round, and I left this section of the video available because I didn't cut it, because at first I wanted to continue and joining with twisted single crochet stitches, but joining not only the bottom line sides but also with the that small piece of from the front panel that need to be joined and not to have a hole there. But I didn't like it, so after a few stitches I just undo it, but I let it on the video just to, in case you were thinking, oh, why not to do this with all three, through all three sides, those last single crochet, twisted single crochet. But I didn't like it how it was looking, and of course that for this section, to join these three pieces together, you can use also the yarn needle and just sew them together, stitch them together. So for now, the last thing was to join with twisted single crochet, but only the bottom line pieces. And then to finish everything, I will just take the needle and then stitch together and not to have that hole. And we are so close to the end. We don't have too many things to do, except that I didn't assemble, basically I didn't stitch the sides of the top, so this will be the next step that we will have to do. Okay, so I finish over here. And now I will simply go on the wrong side, taking the needle and stitch everything together with the darn needle. Now we will hide this end. And cut the yarn. Now to finish the bottom line, you will simply have to sew the buttons. I didn't film while I was doing this, but I think it will be easier for you to do that. Now we should go further and stitch the sides, and I will show you how I was doing that. Sorry, this morning is not my morning. And because I was recording yesterday the same tutorial, and my laptop decided that I didn't did a good job, so I lost everything. So today I just decided to do it one more time because I need this tutorial this week. So before doing that, before starting to stitch the pieces together on the sides, we need to weave in all the ends that we have, if we have. And then we, using the needle, you should have approximate 1 meter, 1 meter of and a half to make sure on your needle, and we will go from back to front into the first stitch, and then from front to back into the first stitch on the other side. Usually I'm making a knot over here and letting quite a big tail to be able to weave it in at the end. And now being next to each other, we will have double crochet on one side and chain 3 on the other side, and single crochet next to single crochet. So here in the right side I have a chain 3, so I will insert the needle into the last stitch, then one into where it was, and into the first chain of the chain 3, and then back into the same first stitch and into the bottom bump of the double crochet on the other side. Then again into the first stitch and up into the third stitch. On the other side, into the bottom of the double crochet and into the top. And then we will go into the third chain and single crochet, and then into the top of the double crochet and single crochet, and we will repeat this until we will get to the armpit. This stitching technique or sewing technique requires a lot of patience, but the result will be really wonderful because it won't be such a visible seam. Okay, so this is how it's looking. It's a bit visible where the colors won't match because I didn't had enough, but otherwise on the first half it's really a good seam. So now let's just do it on the other side, and basically what we have to do after finishing to stitch together this top on the sides, then the buttons if you didn't put them, and of course weaving in all the tails that we have, all the ends, and then block it and wear it with pleasure. So this was about this tutorial. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that I covered everything that you might question about the written pattern, but this was the best thing I could do. And thank you for watching, and until next time, happy crochet and have fun with it. Bye bye.